Hey, what's up everyone, this is Portugal, and today I have a treat for you guys. A close to semi-epic video that will probably make you go, that's cool, I guess. Because, I do not have that much of an impressive ant collection at the moment. So, anyway, this is the rise of the Sun Empire. So, a little bit over 6 months ago, a queen was given to me, supposedly originally from the Maldives. This ant queen had some eggs and was for sure of the genus Camponotus. That name, by the way guys, comes from the arched thorax on the worker ants. Now, having been to the Maldives myself beforehand, I had a hope this was the queen of the species of Camponotus I saw there, because those, at least, created enormous majors, and those are cool. And it came to be that I was kinda right. The third generation, born from the ant queen, already had some minor soldiers. They possessed these miners, I'll call them miners for short. They're not as big as the major soldiers, but they do have a disproportionately big head, and they are very bulky and big and strong, and they're very cool to watch. So I expect the bigger soldiers to be even cooler. The workers also have a slight variation in sizes. It turns out this species is actually pretty polymorphic, not as much as some Camponotus ants can be, but it turns out they are quite a little bit. So this colony has been with me, the queen has been with me for 5 months now, and in those 5 months, the slow-growing Camponotus, or at least usually slow-growing, have been growing crazily. They've gone from a single queen, pregnanted with some eggs, to at least 100 individuals. I think there are more, but I cannot count them. So at least 100. Having high hopes for these girls, I decided this was going to be the first colony I ever name, for the sake of entertainment, of course. So this colony will be now called the Sun Empire, and if everything goes to plan, they shall prosper for a few years in my ant room, having been the first star colony on this channel. Being the Sun Empire, of course, I decided to design a sigil for them, a logo, so to speak. And for that, I used the alchemical symbol for the sun, the golden circle and the ring. It's not actually golden. It can be any color, but I chose the color gold because the sun in alchemy represents gold, the metal gold. So I decided it fitted the theme. The sun also represents nobility, incorruptibility, and spirit. So I thought, knowing this ant colony as the first and probably the greatest I'll have for a while, I decided this was a worthy symbol. And since the name I gave them, which as at first was because of the origin of the ants, which is a very sunny place, the Maldives, it seemed right, it fitted. Also, the color red is, or has been used by our human civilizations in the past as a color to represent basically the same thing as the sun. It represents nobility, royalty, sacrifice, and patriotism. So it could, fit any ant colony, but since this one was the first great ant colony I have since I started the channel, I decided it was fit to give them all this symbology. So red nowadays is considered more of a color of, feelings. It represents both passion and anger, but in the past it was used as a royal color, the color of nobility, just like purple, but I decided, red goes better with gold. So, with such a meaningful sigil and banner, must come a noble, royal colony, and the Sun Empire will not disappoint any ant lover. What you have been watching until now is probably most of it is probably footage of the outworld dominated by our colony here. And you probably have not seen more than a dozen of workers out at once. Maybe a little more because I fed them and was moving around in the outworld before the footage was taken. But even so, that's just because these ants are very preoccupied and give a lot of value to family and spend most of their numbers caring and protecting the brood and their mother, Her Highness the Queen. With these nests they're living in at the moment, we can appreciate the full experience of the Sun Empire. The amount of brood is very substantial, and look at all those workers with their gastes expanded like that, creating those beautiful milky white stripes on their otherwise matte black ant butts. These are what's called a replete, and an ant which is specialized because their social stomach has been enlarged. Now, some species have to do an enlargement of the gaster from the birth of the ant, and that ant has no other function except replete. In Camponotus, most Camponotus, every ant serves as a little bit of a replete. They do not expand as much as, say, honeypot ants, but they do all function and technically are repletes. Now, a replete happens, or a replete is a replete once his, or I should say her, social stomach has been enlarged by an excessive consumption of liquid food. That liquid food is stored inside of their body so as to not rot and be usable to other ants later on. They essentially work as walking fridges, and to open the door and eat, another ant just has to ask with a little bit of antennae rubbing, and then, via mouth-to-mouth transmission, a hungry ant can feed off of the storage of their sister. This mouth-to-mouth feeding process is called trophallaxis, and is one of the most important aspects of ant evolution and prosperity throughout the world, because it allows a better distribution of food amongst the colony members, as well as not having to spend so much ants to go out foraging, and not having to necessarily bring back the physical food items found back to the nest, though some colonies, like the Sun Empire sometimes does, will bring the food items inside for better and faster processing, not risking it getting stolen by, birds or other ants or whatever, bringing it back to where they're the biggest number of ants and probably underground. If you look closely, amongst the workers and brood you'll see some bigger ants. Their heads look disproportionately big compared to the rest of the body, and when compared to a normal worker, they're just, bigger. Those are the mages I was talking about, not the mages, the minor soldiers, And those are all just, as I said, small ones. In a few months' time, this colony should be producing soldiers that are actual mages, or as big as the queen, They'll be, from what I've seen and what I've been shown in photos by the friend who gave me the queen, the soldiers are about the size the queen actually is. Now that I have it, this worker's task will be to defend the working ants and the brood, as well as working as a better food storage devices than the average worker due to their bigger size. They also allow the colony to break down and consume harder types of seeds, as well as getting through tough insect exoskeletons. They have a disproportionately large head, and that head is filled with muscle, so those jaws cram down quickly and strong. Now, even though the soldier's job is almost solely to protect the colony members, that does not mean that the individual worker ant is defenseless. Every ant of this colony, soldier or otherwise, is equipped with a nasty pair of jaws, which, believe me, they hurt a lot for the small size of ant wielding them. They can also create and use formic acid. They are often seen placing little droplets of it onto the prey I feed them. Placing it into a wound would cause at least a little bit of pain to a human. But, since they can't really pierce skin, these ants are not a threat. They're very safe to keep and handle. If you're a big mammal, of course, if you're an insect or something as small as one, these guys are terrifying. They're forced to be reckoned with. And even though they don't feed a lot due to the replete allowing for a better use of the food they are given, when they feed hard. And they immobilize anything immediately and start processing any part of the mealworm I've dropped into the nest as soon as it stops moving. And sometimes even while it's still moving. In small ants, it's common for the very big ant, the very small ant, find the part of the mealworm that's been cut and just start feeding, and not notice that the mealworm is moving. But in bigger ants, they just don't care. All right, they feed, and they don't care. And that is just awesome feeding behavior. They're fierce and they're very fun to watch. Also, these fierce warriors have a soft side, a sweet side, one could say. Being Camponotus, this colony loves its sweets, so sugar water and honey are provided from time to time, and the workers love to take a sip every now and again when they pass by the honey bowl. Now, I didn't have small bowls this time, so you see a shot glass being used, a plastic shot glass, being used to serve the honey, and it's harder for them to get inside, so when they go, they drink a lot, because they're there just to drink. If the bowl is small, they'll just pass by, give a little sip, continue, and probably go back to the nest after a while to give that drop to some repletes which are keeping honey. So they also fill the bowl with sand for reasons, I guess. Maybe it's easier for them to drink without getting stuck that way. Who knows? They know, we don't. It's the mysterious world of ants. Ants will only show us what they feel like showing us, and to me that's okay. I'll never try forcing a lot of stuff into view, because if the ants do not feel like showing it, it's because it's better for them not to. That's why I prefer natural setups, though I only do them when I have a very big colony. So probably the Sun Empire in a few months' time will be moving to a bigger and naturalistic setup. So this, basically, is the Sun Empire. I hope you're as excited to watch more of them as I am to make more videos on them when there's more to talk about. For now, this is all, and I'll see you in the next video. Share, subscribe, leave a comment and a like. Bye bye!